All right, next game up here, Colts 38, Chargers 24. This game was a really fun fantasy game, even if the Colts kind of controlled it throughout. And I want to start on the Colts here because, man, this offense, I said this during the game, this Colts offense is both an extremely talented and deep group. Like they don't have Josh Downs out here in this game, and you didn't even feel that. And like Josh Downs was the guy who led the team in targets in the last 3 weeks combined. And you just take that guy off there and it doesn't even really matter. Doesn't matter at all. And beyond that, I also think they are consistently clean from an operational standpoint. You've got some of these staffs and offenses across the league, Chris, where they can't get plays off. They can't stop getting penalties. They can't get guys lined up correctly, the whole deal. And these are some talented offenses. And the Colts, it just feels completely smooth the entire time. So you get Alec Pierce popping up here for 98 yards. You get Michael Pittman 58 yards and a touchdown on 7 receptions. Tyler Warren has another big game. Oh, yada yada. Jonathan Taylor 3 touchdowns once again. I think this is his 3rd game with 3 rushing touchdowns, I believe. So it's just like this Colts offense, 58% offensive success rate and 18% explosive play rate. That led all offenses this week heading into Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, and to your point earlier about Jonathan Taylor with 3 touchdowns, there have been 6 performances from a running back so far this season with 3 touchdowns. Jonathan Taylor has half of them so far. I mean, it's just crazy to think that this is the type of offense where, I mean, I think the term that I've seen people throwing around on social media right now, they're a wagon. Because if you have a fantasy skill player that's attached to this offense, they're going to wind up scoring or at least have some level of production that you have have some confidence in starting them week in and week out. I mean, we were talking earlier, you pointed out Alec Pierce as a guy that could potentially pick up off the waiver wire and start 10 freaking targets, just a dude that's like, all right, we've typically seen him as the sacrificial X receiver in the offense in years past. And while I have always wanted to see Alec Pierce at least start to blossom as that type of outside receiver because he comes from my alma mater, University of Cincinnati, this is the type of game that you would want to see from him. And while it's been a mix of they haven't had the right quarterback, they haven't had the right play caller, all of that coming together in this type of offense and in this type of week for this level of opportunity, I mean, it's such an awesome thing to see. And outside of Pierce, like you said, Warren having 5 targets, Pittman having 9 targets, and also Taylor tacking on to his rushing total with work in the receiving game as well with 38 yards. I mean, this is the type of offense that, again, if you have a piece of them, you're not trading them away. You want to see how much you can get out of it because of how well and how efficient they are with Danny Dimes under center for them.
Yeah, just circling back to that Alec Pierce point, because I think this is the season. And I liked Pierce as a prospect, but I kind of said that he was like the bad analysis of what people thought DK Metcalf was, where it was just he lined up on one side of the field and ran goes and slants and like that was and posts, and that was about it. That was truly what Alec Pierce was as a prospect, and it's what Alec Pierce was as a rookie. Kind of was what Alec Pierce was for a long time in the NFL, but this year I think he's really taken his game to another level. And look, I said a lot of dumb stuff on FFL this morning. I'm gonna say a lot of dumb stuff every single season. Let's just put it this way: my boys Jack Besh and Jalen Coker did not get close to my 10 combined receptions bold prediction from the end of that show. I said a lot of dumb stuff, but the one thing I wanted to hammer home there was that Alec Pierce is a sub 10% rostered player, and he plays basically every single snap for this offense, and I think he has evolved his game this year. Like, yeah, he has, I think it's just under 25 air yards per target in this game, so he's still that vertical threat, but you see a lot more. I don't know if you've seen the same thing. I feel like I've seen a lot more big in-breakers, dig routes, things like that. So I just think his game has evolved, and it's something that is probably gonna take people a minute to catch up to, because we know Pittman, Tyler Warren's a first-round pick. There's a lot of Josh Downs truthers out there, your boy included. People still have like a weird fascination for A.D. Mitchell, who had 1 target, 1 catch in this game on 5 routes. So the per-target routes are going to continue to look cool for A.D. Mitchell. But Pierce is a guy that I do think will fly under the radar consistently.
Well, yeah, because people will probably have that bad taste in their mouth for how he had been used in years past. So they would need to see multiple games of him performing well, at least being used well enough in that offense that a lot of that old style of where he had been deployed on the field can essentially be transitioned into this is the quote unquote new Alec Pierce. He has taken a step forward. He can be used on more of those crossing patterns in the intermediate to deep parts of the field. And now that you have a quarterback that really allows them to access that part of the field. This is where the talent meets the situation and the production now starts to match up with all of it. So I agree with you. I was hoping to see a bit more of it in the earlier parts of Alec Pierce's career, but now with the way that this whole offense is moving, theoretically, we should start to see a bit more of that if the Colts continue to play the way that they are.
He's going to get a bag in free agency next year. That is for
100%.
sure. He's on the last year of his contract. Just last point here on the Colts before we move to the Chargers. How crazy is it? We just talked about this offense for like 5 minutes, and we've just all accepted the fact that Daniel Jones, 288 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 113 pass rating. We don't even say his name. Like we don't even say like, oh my God, what another great game from Danny Dimes, because this is just what he does every single week.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, he just keeps doing this week in and week out. And my thought this morning when we were talking about it on FF Live was that he was going to be pressed into a more up-tempo type passing day. But of course, with Justin Herbert throwing multiple interceptions and really the entire passing game really not being able to force much of a back-and-forth type matchup for the Colts, yeah, it's just 34 attempts, and we'll just throw close to 300 yards and a couple of touchdowns. And it's just a nice, tidy day, nice, efficient day yet again for Daniel Jones. So hats off to him and the way that Shane Steichen has really kept this offense prepped on a week-in, week-out basis for Jones to essentially resurrect his career after how many seasons we saw of him being the disappointing quarterback. So I'm completely, I would say, hand up, I'm wrong about how Daniel Jones has been playing so far, thinking that he would need to get pushed in order to play well. But in this case, clearly not. It's clearly not the situation he needs. He can just be well on his own.
Okay, Chargers side of things here. To me, I think this was the perfect you can see it both ways game from Justin Herbert here, Chris, because one of his interceptions is just really bad. A bunch of people on social media are kind of piling on him and seeming like, hey, this is what keeps him out of that top tier quarterbacks. And then the rest of the game, while under constant duress, I'll check the pressure numbers here in just a second because, this game wrapped up pretty recently. I don't know if I've seen the fully updated ones yet, but it felt like he was constantly under duress, bad offensive line, banged up offensive line. Hopefully Joe Alt can come back next week. 420 yards to the air, 3 touchdowns, and he led the team with 31 rushing yards. So it was just one of those days from Justin Herbert. Like, it feels like it's Groundhog Day with him every single year of his career. These are the games we see.
Yeah, let me know what you see on the pressure rate stuff, because when I looked at it earlier, and it must have been because it was like midway through and still need to update, he was under a 20% pressure rate, which to me seemed kind of odd because I know that he only had a couple. Yeah, that definitely seems low and just didn't match the eye test of how often like we saw him kind of forced out of the pocket. But either way, these are the types of games that, at least for fantasy managers, you would want to have, minus the interceptions, of course, but having them forced into a pass-heavy type of script and having the pass catchers back. I know Quentin Johnston really didn't get there from an opportunity standpoint with his first game back after the hamstring injury, but Keenan Allen putting up just prime Keenan Allen type numbers and Ladd McConkey still being at least a viable option. The one guy that, of course, that we'll have to talk about, I mean, Oronde Gadsden, popping up for like 100+ yards as a receiver in this game. I do wonder if it's just more of, with QJ being, I would say, semi-hobbled in this contest, that's where he winds up picking up some of the slack. But at the very least, if we do get some of those more up-tempo games for Justin Herbert moving forward, because they are forced into those pass-happy scripts, if at least Gadsden falls into that tight end emergency type of option that you would need if you wind up having to start a guy on a weekly basis, that type of thing.
Okay, because we have the best production staff in the entire world here as we're doing a live show, they threw up the pressure stats while we were talking here, and we're showing them on the screen. I didn't even have to look them up. Shout out to the boys in the back. I didn't even have to look this thing up.
They do it all, man.
They do it all. We're just here yapping, and for I mean, Chris is handsome as hell. For me, I'm like halfway acceptable here. And those guys are the ones that are really working here. So again, updated pressure numbers. This comes in from Cody Manning per Next Gen Stats. Justin Herbert faced a career high. So yeah, it was a little low when it was 20%. Yeah, career high, 57.4 pressure rate against the Colts. Completed 19 of 31 under pressure, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick, 252 yards. His 252 passing yards under pressure are the third most by a quarterback since 2018. So yes, Herbert under constant duress, feeding the guys in the passing game. You mentioned some of the highlights there. Keenan Allen, biggest game in weeks. Ladd McConkey leads the team with 15 targets, was kind of the underneath option, which is sort of the theory of Ladd McConkey at this point. Like he's got to be the guy we get it out quick to because he's the best separator on the team. And yeah, QJ did score a touchdown, wasn't super involved, but was on the field a ton, so that might just be one of those things. But we do have to talk about rookie tight end, 5th rounder, Oronde Gadsden. 9 targets, leads the team with 164 yards through the air. And this isn't really a one-game fluke either, Chris. It's kind of been building towards this. We've been mentioning it lightly on the show, but definitely time to really take it seriously here. Route rates of 64%, 77%, and 66% the last 3 games. 17 targets combined the last 2 weeks. And I just think this team's going to have to keep throwing the football, and this guy's on the field all the time, as we're seeing. He's just dusted the veteran tight ends on this team and is out there every single week.
Yeah, and that's where I know it's going to be tough for fantasy managers to look at the entire situation and say, well, all right, well, he's already got Quentin Johnson, he's already got Keenan Allen, he's already got Ladd McConkey, and then, all right, so now you have to tack on this 4th new option into this passing game. But if these are going to be the types of games that they're going to have, these jailbreak type pass heavy type of games, and especially next week, if we assume that it's going to be Carson Wentz, as we were just talking about the Vikings passing game, they play the Vikings next week. And if it's going to be Carson Wentz and it's going to be, I'd say, slightly more pass production friendly between both offenses, I mean, we could see a similar script for the Chargers where they're going to have to pass quite a bit in order to keep up with the Vikings offensively. So we could see Gadsden, if he continues on with his route rate, and also how well he performs after the catch as well. I mean, this kind of really does set up for, I wouldn't say breakout, but at least enough that you would want to try and pick him up and see what you can get out of Oronde Gadsden moving forward.
Yeah, Chargers-Vikings TNF this week, so we'll be talking a lot about that game here over the course of the week. So lots to learn for that one. Man, this Chargers offense, I mean, even Trey Harris I thought was fantastic last week after going back charting that film. Like, there's a lot going on here in this Chargers passing game. So let's just get that offensive line healthy. Let's get Amari and Hampton back, and I think this could be one of the most dangerous offenses in the NFL.